Deforestation is one of the leading causes of climate change. It's causing lots of harm to our environment and its ecosystems, but surprisingly, most people know very little about the issue. That's why I will be talking all about deforestation and what you can do to fight it even if you're a teenager. You probably know that deforestation is the action of clearing a wide area of trees, and its main purpose is to harvest wood and create space for buildings, roadways, and croplands. For context, according to the Encyclopedia Britannica, the 49 million square kilometers of cropland on the planet is made up of mostly deforested land. And overall, on a bigger scale, we've already lost over 1/3 of our planet's forests. But why is this such a big issue? The first of many problems that arise with deforestation is actually a long cycle of events, but it stems from the most common deforestation practice, which is called slash and burn agriculture. This is a practice where farmers burn down a good chunk of a forest, and then they use the ashes from the burnt trees to fertilize the soil so they can grow their crops. The problem with this is that it leads to a significant amount of greenhouse gas emissions. This is because forests naturally go through a process called carbon sequestration, which is when the tree stores carbon over a long period of time and prevents the carbon from releasing out into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide gas. When forests are burned down, this prevention is reversed. The carbon stored by the trees is released back into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide gas, and it has nowhere to go because the trees are gone. This is when the final stage of the cycle happens. This is because carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, and when Earth gets heated by the sun, it sends infrared radiation back into space. What greenhouse gases do is they absorb this infrared radiation and send it back to Earth, warming up the planet, which we all know as climate change or global warming. And according to the Climate Funds update, deforestation overall contributes to about 12 to 20% of climate change. It's important to know that we need some of this greenhouse effect to survive, because without it, the planet would just be too cold. But obviously with too much, the effects can be devastating. It can be so devastating because global warming is associated with multiple environmental issues such as heat waves affecting the sea level and increasing and intensifying wildfires. In 2022 alone, climate change caused over 15,000 deaths. But climate change is not the only negative impact that comes out of deforestation. Another huge downside is soil erosion. This is when soil particles are detached or removed, causing the soil to deteriorate. The most prominent cause of soil erosion is water and wind, but deforestation still plays a huge part. This is because the leaves from the forest provide a thick layer of protection for the soil underneath, and when these trees are burned down, the soil is left vulnerable and unprotected from the water and wind. So although it's directly caused by forces of nature, we greatly speed up the process every day by removing the protection. In the Midwest, for example, just in the last 50 years alone, half of the loss of our topsoil was caused by human activity. But why is soil erosion a bad thing? The reason soil erosion is so devastating is because we need topsoil to grow crops. This means that as soil erosion increases, our potential for growing food crops goes down. Beyond food crops, soil erosion is even linked to hurting the biodiversity of ecosystems. For example, soil erosion can often cause the soil to fall in and lead to sedimentation of bodies of water. This is when the soil settles down at the bottom of the water, and it can completely destroy underwater ecosystems because oftentimes they will rely on clear water. Building off of this further, habitat loss is largely increased by deforestation. When animals who thrive in forest ecosystems have to deal with their homes being burned down, they are left with minimal food and shelter, and they struggle to breed. The remains of their habitats typically is smaller fragments which are not nearly big enough to support a large population of these animals. Because of this, even the animals that do manage to find a new home have limited resources, as it is generally dangerous for them to try and migrate between fragments. Because of these fragments, they are generally at a much higher risk of poaching, as well as predators. According to National Geographic, poaching is the illegal trafficking and killing of wildlife. It is usually done for monetary gain. This is a serious threat because it can lead to extinction of many different animal species, and deforestation plays a larger role than you might have thought. There are many things that we can do to help prevent and even potentially reverse the effects of deforestation, no matter what your age or status is. For example, one thing we can all do that can have a massive impact on deforestation is actually recycling your paper. According to Science Direct, by substituting used paper for trees, recycling reduces the overall intensity of forest management needed to meet given demand for paper. This means that just by recycling your paper, you can stop a tree from being cut down. This is a great first step because anyone can do it. It doesn't require you to have money or be over 18. At a bigger level, something we can do to fight deforestation is make sure that we're only buying sustainable wood products. According to the Daily Bark, these are products that are made only using wood from sustainably managed forests. Sustainably managed forests are forests that have people who take care of the forest environment, making sure that there's no threats to its ecosystem ecosystem and trees. They plant just as many trees as they chop down to make the practice renewable. Although this is a great way to fight deforestation, it's not the most accessible way for teenagers who probably aren't buying a lot of wood products. One of the best ways for teenagers to help fight against deforestation is to help raise awareness. Billions of people use social media, making it a great place to spread awareness. Posting a TikTok or Instagram story could only take a few minutes, but by bringing the light to the right resources, you can make a huge difference. Thank you for watching, and for more resources on deforestation, you can go to the websites in the description.